Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. We have our producer, John McDonough, back from a sunny cruise. And we're hoping to have Zoom in Fru Nkimbeng, EILEEN DELROSSI, and Mike Smith. But I haven't been in touch with Mike in a couple of days. EILEEN, I texted with yesterday, and Fru, John and I texted with yesterday.
Nobody's on Zoom yet, just...
We had a big debate. It's a little chilly this morning. Sunrise at 7:09, sunset at 16:13 or 4:13 p.m. It's going to be cloudy, a high of 41. Winds light and variable, basically from the south-southeast at 5 miles an hour. 8% chance of precipitation with a humidity of 79%. Not bad.
So it's not going to rain, not going to snow. Going to be not such a bad day.
Morning.
EILEEN, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You look like you're ready to go outside.
Oh, I think maybe I should call your phone because you're breaking up a little, Cliff.
Well, let me get it out. Oh, there's Mike.
I'm going to call.
Call ahead.
Okay.
Mike's still working on it. Go back to you, Cliff.
Yeah.
We got no fruit
Okay.
yet. Got no fruit yet.
Today in 1497, Vasco da Gama. There's a...
EILEEN DELROSSI.
Hello, EILEEN.
Hello, guys. Sorry for that.
Kill my ear.
So, Vasco da Gama passed the Great Fish River at the southern tip of Africa, where the previous explorer, Bartolomeu Diaz, had previously turned back to Portugal.
That was too close, Cliff.
Oh.
4 inches. Thank you.
Hold on, Travis Scott, and then this came in. It's just not
Please continue. Cliff,
Oh,
please
What?
continue.
Hmm?
Please continue.
Well, people were talking.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, neither did I. I was trying to figure that out.
Maybe
sorry, it was Anthony. He was watching his
Oh.
YouTube. He watches his phone before he goes to school.
I
I
see.
apologize.
So, in 1653, in the interregnum between royalty, the Protectorate, Oliver Cromwell became the Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland. So, in 1653, we had a dictator, since we were a colony of England. In 1689, the Convention Parliament had a Declaration of Rights embodied in a Bill of Rights. So there was a predecessor to our own Bill of Rights
Who did this, the English?
in the English.
This is the this BC or AC?
1689,
Elemental P.
there was no England in BC.
Thank you for the education.
All right. 1773, the Boston Tea Party. Members of the Sons of Liberty, disguised as Mohawk Indians, dumped hundreds of crates of tea into the Boston Harbor as a protest against the Tea Act. That's a little predecessor of the Revolution.
Well, that is the key to unlock the door to let the migrants vote.
How is that the...
Taxation without representation. They pay, if they go down to Cliff Sunoco this morning to buy gas, they pay taxes on the gas. No way around it. It's included in the price of the gas, your tax. So taxation without representation.
I see. In 1811, the first two of a series of 4 severe earthquakes occur in the vicinity of New Madras, Missouri. Those earthquakes were strong enough that they rang church bells in New England. So you can imagine for it to transfer all the way from Missouri. 1944, World War II. This is the beginning of the Battle of the Bulge, with a surprise offensive by 3 German armies through the Ardennes forest.
What country is the Ardennes forest in, Cliff?
This is Belgium.
So the country of Belgium, or is that
Yeah.
a section of Germany?
No.
Just asking the question. Thank you.
In 1859, Wilhelm Grimm passed away. He had been born in 1786. You know Grimm, right, John?
Are you kidding me?
Didn't your parents read you the Grimm's fairy tales?
I have no idea who Grimm was. Have you ever met Gabriel?
Later. I expect to meet him later.
Gabriel?
Yeah.
You didn't meet him when you were a child? The Archangel?
No, I
You
didn't.
never heard of him?
Oh, I'd heard of him.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I
Oh.
said I expect to meet him later.
Ask a silly question, get a silly answer.
In
Can
1944,
we ask Mike? Can we ask Mike? Did he know Grimes? Mike?
You're kind of breaking up. I'm trying to listen to you, but you keep breaking up. Should I call you?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, call Cliff's phone.
All right, I'll call.
All right. Eileen, you've heard of Grimm, right? Grimm's fairy tales?
She's busy.
Nope, I must have missed that edition.
Poor Anthony.
Anthony's not poor in any stretch of the imagination.
No, yeah,
What's-
he is like the luckiest kid in the world. How was your trip, John?
It was delicious.
It looks amazing.
It was delicious. I had hoped for some rough seas, which I never got. And I found out later through the captain, it's the design of the boat. The boat rides better than most cruise ships. So, interesting. But it was a good trip. Had a good time. Thank you for
Yeah.
I can call you.
All right. So,
Here comes Fru.
all right. So, today in 1944, Betsy ten Boom, a Dutch Holocaust victim, passed away.
Give me her name again. She must have had quite the fun in high school. What was her name?
Betsy ten Boom.
Can you imagine?
She's the sister of Corrie ten Boom.
Imagine they had fun with her name, huh?
Did, you probably never read Corrie ten Boom's book, The Hiding Place?
I would have made fun of Tin Boom in grammar school, wouldn't you have? Made fun of Tin. So hey, the gang's all here. Eileen's on the phone,
All right.
and there's Fru. Fru's focusing up on us now, and that's Mike. So looking good.
And today's the beginning of the 9-day celebration in Hispanic nations. That runs from 16th December to December 24th, celebrating the trials which Mary and Joseph endured before finding a place to stay where Jesus could be born.
All right.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Where were the trials held?
Where was the what?
The trials held. You said there were trials.
Trials, yeah. Trials and tribulations. The trials were held on the road.
Well, did
The expression trials and
Did the judge move
tribulation-
along with them, or what happened?
John, the expression trials does not just mean a jury trial or a trial before a judge, but it also means the difficulties that you go through to
So maybe,
proceed in
going
life.
back, maybe at the onset, you should have said trials and tribulations. Could be.
Could be.
I'm not too, as you know, Cliff, I don't like the Wayback Machine. And you're in the way back machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the other hand, what are you going to do on Christmas? Are you going to boycott Christmas
I am
because
going
it's
to,
the Wayback Machine?
Enjoy the day, enjoy my grandchildren, and there'll be some good food. And I might even, you know what, because the olden days, see, this might be the last year we don't have to watch the grandkids come down at the birth of the day, like at the dawn. And we've been lucky enough to, like, every year go down to the back to where my sons live and enjoy the grandkids coming down for Christmas morning. And but now they're older, so that don't happen anymore. But we got Luke with the grandson. He's 3, so but he's not yet understanding Santa Claus. So I don't think he's processing that well. So I get to sleep in Christmas Day. Do you get to watch the grandkids doing these stuff, Cliff? On
No.
Zoom, and you're an electronic guy.
Yeah. Maybe some of the grandchildren will be up just before New Year's.
Oh, great. I gotta find the Zoom link.
But I'm hoping to sleep in because Martha will have to do 3 masses on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
What, 4, 5, and... Do we do it midnight?
No.
Okay.
I think it's like 7:30 or something.
No midnight mass. Do they still have that over at St. Mike's, I wonder?
I don't know.
That's where I used to go to midnight mass. I'd be over to my brother-in-law Stevie's house and my sister-in-law Peachy's house, and we'd go over to St. Mike's for mass, because they were the only ones who had a midnight mass. I'll have to investigate that.
Okay. Did you read the column in the Lowell Sun yesterday?
The column was amazing. They're going to rename Merrimack Street. I told you this yesterday. Tumbleweed. Going to call when Enterprise Bank is gone, they're going to call it Tumbleweed.
I
That
see.
wasn't a good noise out of the iPad.
No, you just got a notice of some
I
sort.
think it's losing its battery. I don't know what's going on with that thing.
So, yeah, in the column, the writers suggested that Dracut pushes homeless people down to Lowell, and then it poaches businesses from downtown Lowell that are closing because the situation is not conducive to having customers. So, did you see that, Fru?
Who's gone?
Fru went? Oh, how about you, Eileen? Did you see that in the column?
No, I did not see that. I was at the Museum of Ice Cream in Boston yesterday, all day.
Museum of Ice Cream.
Yeah.
Did they have...
Okay.
Well, I didn't see it, but I heard from you. But if Lowell is informed that way, then Lowell should know how to react. Information is power.
Yes. I agree with you, Fru. But,
But did he see the column?
no.
Fru, did he see the column?
Fru, John's asking if you saw the column. I said that I thought...
Yeah, the audio from both of you is coming across breaking.
Do you want to try calling into my cell phone?
All right.
All right, so the column was an interesting picture by Melanie Gilbert of the situation in downtown, and that was my takeaway. What was your takeaway from the column, Cliff?
That the homeless problem may be contributing to businesses
Maybe,
losing customers and therefore shutting down or moving away?
if Demoulas wasn't on private property, Martha would have a lot more to say about this.
Well, just a second while I
That's Fru calling in, I
hold
think.
and accept. Hi, Fru.
All right.
Okay, I think we've got everybody now. So, Fru, did you see the column or,
Did you see the column
All right. Somebody got a secondary sound source.
Echo here.
He's got too many, Fru has too many audios going. Tell Fru to mute everything in the room.
Please.
yeah. Fru, can you mute the Zoom and we'll just go with the phone? Yeah.
That ain't happening.
Fru. No, that didn't work.
He muted his phone.
Fru, it seems you muted your phone.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, we got you now, Fru.
Okay. So, the problem is, we've been dealing with homelessness since shortly after I arrived here in Lowell, 30 years ago. And we don't have a long-term solution.
No place does, but they can't sleep on public property. They've laid on the streets downtown Lowell for 20 years. They've been harassing people getting out of their cars for 20 years. And nobody shops in downtown Lowell anymore. Or I shouldn't say nobody. Much less people shop in downtown Lowell because of the homeless issue.
Okay, so let's talk about the situation in New York City in Daniel Penny. So Daniel Penny was involved in...
This ain't working, Cliff. If we're getting too much feedback. And no audio point. So, question each, I think Fru is watching us on TV or listening to us on Facebook or something, because his sound source is 5 seconds behind my voice. So it's either, so what does Fru have on, and then ask Eileen, we gotta get rid of the secondary audio source,
Yeah.
please.
So, Fru,
Yes.
you're listening on Zoom, but do you have the microphone on in Zoom?
Am I clear now?
That took, I think it's better.
Give me a longer sentence.
Oh, this is Fru Nkimbeng in Lowell.
All right, that sounds good. Eileen?
No, he's good, we're good, that was it. He did something, that's good, all better.
All right. Okay, so Daniel Penny ran into a person who was belligerent and threatening on the subway, and he put him in a chokehold, and he died. And 10 days after the incident, they indicted him. So Black Lives Matter leaders claim that this was racism. Do we think this is racism, what Daniel Penny did?
What did he do?
He put a chokehold on the guy.
Was this the New York subway guy?
Yes.
No, it wasn't racism.
All right. I was looking for a,
Well, you asked everybody, so
Yeah.
go around the room.
well, I was looking for Fru's comment.
Why are you picking on Fru?
Because Fru is intelligent, may have additional sources of information.
I like the way you put it, ironically putting me on the spot for obvious reasons. But you said a chokehold. Is that a code? Is that legal with the police practice?
He was a civilian.
Okay, but if it's a civilian, is that legal? Would he, in the same situation?
Okay, Fru, based on what you know, how do you feel about the court's decision with respect to this chokehold situation? How do you feel about it?
What is the cost situation? Because I cannot comment on something that I don't know.
Understood, thank you. So he didn't see it.
So, I don't know if it's illegal chokehold. I know that if I was in that situation, I probably, if I had a chance to do that, would have used a chokehold, because otherwise it just becomes a fist fight that goes on. I would not expect the person to die, though, with a
But
chokehold.
when you use a chokehold, what is the intention of using a chokehold instead of using other defensive, protective means? Is the chokehold the last resort or the first resort?
Okay, let me paint this picture. Let me paint this picture for the audience, okay?
Okay, so
Go ahead.
can I talk
Mike.
in on this?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. So first of all, one of the reasons he used the chokehold because he was in the Marines, and they were taught to take somebody down to use a chokehold. So his training kicked in when this happened. This person was threatening people. Multiple witnesses of all races testified in the courtroom that they were scared for their life, and they were happy that he took the guy down. The person who assisted him to hold the guy's legs was black. So it had nothing to do with race, and that's what bothers me the most, because now the father of the guy that died in this is trying to do a money grab when he had nothing to do with his son all these years, helping him out when he had mental health issues. So this should have never even gone to court to begin with. It's typical New York, because I've lived there all my life until recently. Typical New York City on how they handle things. They make everything race, and that bothers me. This should have never even gone to court and wasted all the taxpayer money. And what bothers me on top of it is they still, on the initial charge, they didn't even have a unanimous. They were a hung jury, and they dropped that charge. It was a waste of taxpayer money, because if they had found him guilty, nobody would attempt to help anybody threatened on the subway or on the streets in the future in New York City. So it's just the reason he used a chokehold is because he was trained in the military that if you had to take somebody down, you take them down by a chokehold. Unfortunately, the person died from this. But, it's unfortunate, but it happened. And it had nothing to do with race. It had to do with somebody who was threatening other passengers on the subway there. And this is not a isolated incident where people get threatened on the New York subways.
So, Fru,
Yes.
you got a thought?
No, and I mean, I'm glad that Mike had to shed more light on that. I don't have any thought. Mike is a New York resident. He has probably lived it all and seen it all through. So my comments will really be, contradictory to what an eyewitness can say. I would not like to comment from a distance because, like I said, I don't know the story.
Should Daniel Penny have waited until Mr. Neely had actually done something to someone before he intervened?
He already did.
You can't change what already happened, Cliff. And the thing is the guy was threatening to come at people with a knife. So, I mean, and he was threatening, he made threats, he was acting in a dangerous manner. So, I mean, to tell you the truth, if I had been on that subway and I could have figured out a way to take the guy down, if I had to, grab him or choke him or whatever, I probably would have done the same thing as Penny, if I could have done it. And he had help. I mean, once he grabbed the guy, one of the other passengers on the subway came and grabbed the guy's legs. Now, did he, could he have stopped choking him then? I don't know. I wasn't in the situation. Adrenaline kicks in when something like that happens. And, we don't know still, from what the reports were saying, it wasn't confirmed, or I think it was, that he had drugs in the system. So, he could have been high, and he wasn't acting in a rational manner. So it's just, I mean, the subways in New York City, I've ridden them. I've never had an issue riding them before, but, there's been numerous instances of people being attacked or threatened on the subways. And even walking down the streets in New York City, there's been numerous reports of people, because of the way they've got the laws now in New York, of people being attacked more than once walking down the street. And the person who did it, they're arrested and they're let right out of jail that day with an appearance to appear in court someday. I mean, we're not talking once or twice. There's instances of people there of dozens of times of being arrested and still let out every time. So, I mean, there's an issue where the police cannot enforce things the way they should, or the courts are not keeping dangerous people off the streets.
Yeah. My question is, what's the city's responsibility? This man is homeless. How are they dealing with homelessness?
Send him a check.
The man is mentally ill.
They send him a check. We ignore mental illness in this country. We just send him a check.
So Cliff, this is not a new thing in New York City and numerous big cities in the United States with mental illness. Years ago, they used to have in New York City where they could put people under 24-hour surveillance, maybe hopefully help them recover from their mental illness. Those have all been shut down years ago, and people are mainlined into society. So it's not cheap to put people in mental institutions and to make sure they're not abused. That was part of the reason they shut those down. So we've discussed this many times on this podcast with homeless people. A lot of them have mental illnesses that are not being addressed. And unfortunately, with the way the laws are written, you can't force them into treatment if they don't want it. So they're just doing a Band-Aid on helping them. So, and this person had been arrested multiple times, and he was let out, as I mentioned earlier. So, I mean, it costs money and resources. And right now, New York City, dealing with all the illegal immigrants, does not even have resources for the people that had problems to begin with. So, I mean, you have to figure out in society whether we're willing to put the resources in to deal with people with mental illnesses. And right now, we're not doing a good job of it.
Fru, you got thought? I mean, I think I'm in agreement with Mike. I think we need to be doing something about mental illness. How do you see it?
Well, if it's known that someone is sick, we cannot blame the victim. We who are sane also should use other means to protect life. Life is invaluable, and also the society is made in such a way that if you don't do something, you will be blamed. and if you do something, you will be blamed. Who do you? How do you? Is there any way that a good Samaritan can really act in this society and go free?
Well, I think you have a good point.
Well, I think it begs the question, would you act? Same situation, where you're sitting on the subway with your family, heading to an event, wherever you're going, and you have some person that's on the subway car, you're underground, and this guy walks up to you and says, somebody in your family's gonna die. I'm gonna kill somebody in your family today. I'm gonna kill one of you people. And he gets in your granddaughter's face or your grandson's face. I'm gonna kill you first. Now, at what point do you say something? Do you say, ooh, golly, well, this is terrible. I don't know what. So what do you do, Cliff? Over to you first, then I'm gonna go to Mike, then I'm gonna go to Fru.
I think the first thing you do is you try and talk them down.
Oh, so you're gonna, okay. I'm gonna kill you, Cliff. Oh, I can't kill you. I'm gonna kill you, Cliff. I'm gonna kill you. Now what do you do?
You try and talk them down first. And
Okay. So at what point?
if they make
how long do you
a
try that
move, then I think that you try and
I jump closer to you.
restrain them.
I jump closer to you. I get right in your face.
Can I ask a clarifying question in this point? Did I hear Mike say that he had a knife on him? The man that was...
He was threatening people to use a knife. Okay, in the testimony that came out, he was threatening to use a knife on people.
But did he actually have it with him?
That I'm not sure if he had it or not. I'd have to look into it. But I know from the testimony when I watched some of the court proceedings, he threatened people he was going to hurt them with a knife.
So
Okay,
threatening
thank you.
people isn't enough, Cliff. in your book.
And to follow on that, if he had a knife, after they choked him, that knife would have been produced at the court as evidence. Was it produced?
I don't know, Fru, on that. I only know about the testimony he threatened people. That I'd have to go back and look and see if there was a knife on him or not. I can't answer that right now.
So in that instance, if we are looking at it from that point, and if someone has been trained, was a marine trained, and this is a person who has no weapon, who has nothing, and to attack him by using the choke hole, I think that is a tactic that you use on the battlefield with someone who is also threatening a life with a weapon or something.
Well, then on the other side, if it was a white guy, none of this would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a white guy that got the chokehold, the white guy died, none of this would have erupted, would it?
That's a different issue.
No, it's not.
It is a different issue.
If it was a white guy, none of this would have surfaced.
What
We
bothers
talked about
me
that
is
at the
why does
beginning.
race always have to come into a situation
The
like
media.
this?
The
That's
The
the,
American DNA.
The media.
We cannot avoid it and cannot prevent that it could come. As John was saying, if it was a white guy and it was a marine, the situation would also be different. We should look at things in an objective way and know and accept it that race is part of our DNA. We cannot just brush it and make it a wishy-washy. That's not how reality has to sink in.
True enough.
so basically what John is saying, if I understand correctly, that if this had happened on the subway and he had been a white person and this penny had choked him out and killed him, there would have been no trial, there would have been no charges at all. Is that what you're saying, John?
This wouldn't have got the media attention that it got. The guy who, the chokehold guy, he would have been questioned by the cop. And if a knife was found, a knife was found. But if witnesses corroborate, okay, this guy's walking around on the subway train in my face. I got a knife. I'm going to kill your granddaughter right in front of you. Watch. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. At what point can you do something about this? Oh, honey, just ignore him. She's frightened to death, or he's frightened to death. And Grandpa, the big protecting guy, is, well, we'll talk him down. I'm not a professional talker downer, but if I have this chokehold, nobody's going to threaten my family.
I'd like to walk back a little bit on the chokehold because I was trained on this also. It was my understanding during the training that it did not kill people. It would cause them to pass out, and therefore they would be no longer a threat. The idea that it would kill someone, I think, brings in the question of complicating factors. My understanding is that when Daniel Penny released the chokehold, the guy was still alive. So complicating factors must have played into this.
Yes, that is true. They said he was still alive when he released the chokehold.
Yeah. And I also read that they administered Narcan, so he must have been on some type of opioid.
Yeah.
But what I would really add on that is I believe that the first human instinct is to be a good Samaritan. No one gets into a situation like that to kill. And I also would not really, John's presentation is a little bit too dramatic because it paints a situation whereby someone is in your face with a knife and things like that.
That's what I heard.
It's a little bit more sensational.
That's what I heard. Comments on Fox, CNBC, that the guy was verbally threatening everyone on the train. Everyone in that subway car was being verbally threatened by this guy. I'm going to kill somebody, and it's going to be you. I'm going to kill you. So this guy says, you know what? He's picking on poor old Fru here, and I'm sick of this. Everybody in the train's frightened. They don't know what to do. You can hear a pin drop, and all you have is this guy who's not as stable as we are, threatening to kill Fru. Threatening to kill Mike. So this guy jumped into action. Thank you for doing it. I think he did the right thing. Fru, you think that was wrong?
John, if we all agree that he was sick, and if that was just a verbal threat without a weapon, it doesn't necessitate the kind of aggressive and action taken to neutralize him.
Okay, well, let's say, for instance, it's on an aircraft. You're up at 30,000 feet. I jump out of a seat and turn into like Mr. Madman, and I get in your face and I'm gonna kill you. The stewardess or the flight attendant is not gonna stand there and take any of my malarkey. They're gonna say, look, buddy, shut up and sit down. I'm coming after you next. As soon as any kind of a threat, and that's a threat in my book, any kind of a threat happens on an aircraft, you're done. You are all done. The guy or the gal who's doing the threat is all done. They're going to duct tape that guy into his seat until he gets home.
Here, I pulled up some of the testimony.
But John, you're trivializing it. Let us focus on the incident that happened. We know it. Don't trivialize it by going to the airline or whatever. It doesn't
What's the
happen.
difference?
That's another story. Let's talk on what is reality.
Mike has some information. Please go.
Okay, so I pulled up some of the testimony that was here, and it says one of the witnesses said the whole train was freaked out. He was either gonna pull a gun, a knife, or one woman says, he said, I'm willing to die. I forgot about that. He says, I'm willing to die. He was threatening people and lunging at people. He says, another woman said he scared the daylights out of everybody. And another one says he took her down, he took him down in the chokehold. She described Neely, who's the person who died, as resisting when Penny put Neely in a chokehold to restrain him. Not a hard chokehold, just enough to secure him, and the guy kept fighting. So, I mean, that's why he held the chokehold probably longer, because the guy didn't stop. So, that's, I can only go by, what some of the testimony is.
So at what point, so you're on a bus. You're on an LRTA bus, and some guy who's not mentally stable starts picking on you and threatens to kill somebody. At what point do you take action? I think that's an assault. Is that an assault? Did I tell you I'm going to kill you? Thoughts? Start off with Cliff.
No, it's not an assault.
Not an assault.
And I think that
Is it a
Fru's
threat?
touched on something. Mr. Neely was threatening. He did not brandish a weapon, though.
Yeah, he said, I got a weapon. When you go into...
Well, he's saying, I'm willing to die. So, I mean, he was threatening people. I don't have every bit of the testimony, but he was, when somebody's threatening people and then he's saying, I'm willing to die as he's threatening people, that would scare the daylights out of me, that this guy is, what is he going to do?
But the thing is, if I hear from all of you, they're saying that he has had multiple incidents, and they know that he is sick.
We don't know he's sick. No, well, Fru.
We know that he is sick, but even at that moment, I don't really think that people know that he was sick. But I equally say that the first instinct of human is to use the good Samaritan. I don't think that anyone trying to do anything, his intention was to kill him.
Was there any impact from the Kitty Genovese murder that was back before Eileen's time? Back in the 1960s, remember she was going home around midnight and she got attacked twice. Once the guy was scared off because someone raised the window and shouted at him. But then he came back and finished the job. Do you think that had any impact on how people operate today?
Let me ask Mike a question. Mike, how long was the subway? Mike, how long was the subway ride? Can you find that out? From when the incident started, how long was it to the first stop? Because at the first stop, that's when the car got evacuated and the police came in.
Are you asking how long the chokehold was?
No, how long
Is that what you're asking?
How long the subway ride was for? Was it for 5 minutes? Was it for 15 minutes? Was it for 60 seconds? How long was that subway ride?
Yeah, I know they said he had a chokehold for 6 minutes, so I don't know how long the subway ride was.
Okay, 6 minutes that's a good answer. Thank you.
Have they, heck, it's 6:40, almost 48. Have we beaten this topic to death?
Well,
For which we could be tried?
What's it going to do to Good Samaritans? I think that was one of the issues. I don't think we ever talked about that.
I think the fact that he was acquitted means Good Samaritans will be willing to intervene.
Eileen, thoughts?
I feel, I don't know. I feel like, what if the person he wanted to get to was the conductor, and it could have got way worse. It could have become a natural disaster. And I also believe, like, mental illness is defined by the DSM-5 as somebody who could have ADHD, anxiety, or depression, which is rampant in this country. And I feel like we need to take care of our mental health and not do things to make it worse, like drugs and crazy things like that. So I just feel like if we just had just a better, easier outlook to take care of all of these things, then it goes back to government and making sure to promote overall better mental health.
Okay,
for
Eileen,
people.
short version of the story. Are you gonna jump into action, yes or no?
Oh my God! Oh, sorry about that. No, because I won't win.
Understood, okay, so moving on to Mike. Mike, you gonna jump into action on the subway?
If I had to, I would. I know self-defense on different things you can do.
So you and Kathy gonna ride the subway in New York or take a cab?
Well, I have taken the subway before. I've never run into a problem on the subway in New York City when I've been riding it.
Moving on to fruit.
I wasn't riding it. I just wasn't riding it with this kind of issue.
Cliff wants to turn the page. So, Fru, are you going to jump into action on the subway car?
Well, I've ridden in New York in the subway a few times, but I think the good Samaritan instinct in me will enable me to act, to intervene in a good manner, but not. This situation is sad on both sides, but we are looking at it after the effect and drawing conclusion, which is not fair.
Okay.
So are you, I didn't get an answer, Fru. Are you going to jump in 2024? December 16th, you're in a subway car and this fracas breaks out. Are you going to jump into action and stop it? What is you're sitting on the subway car this afternoon. What are you going to do about it?
To be very honest with you, John, I'll take to my heels and save myself.
So you're not going to jump into, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you going to jump into action or are you going to sit there and watch?
I'll run away. I'll save my life.
And my answer is I'm not riding the subway anymore. Cliff, back over to you.
The problem with John's solution is, with mental illness, it could happen anywhere. Fru could go to work at 11 o'clock. Somebody could come into the office off the street and threaten people.
And a texter texts in, stay out of the Big Apple. New York City is back to the dump that it was in the 70s. My instant messages are not transferring to the screen. Apologize.
Okay. So
I can, Cliff, I just want to follow up a little bit. You're talking about mental illness. So Kathy and I were just had news recently. She grew up in Wawa in Canada, which is a small town up in northern Canada. And just this week, what happened, this is like one bank in the town, that's it. A man walked in to the bank and shot the loan officer because he had been turned down by a loan earlier that day. And then he took his own life. And she's still in the hospital. But you talk about mental illness being anywhere. That's like completely unexpected for something like that to happen in a town like that. And that's the problem. It costs money and resources to deal with people that are mentally ill. And as a society, are we willing to put the necessary resources and pay to help these people who have mental illness? And it's getting more and more common, unfortunately, because of social media and bullying online and all the other stuff going on. So until we're willing to really put the resources in, we can't help out this and reduce it. In California, when they're giving people drugs because they're mentally ill and they're addicted, instead of really getting them well, that's just a Band-Aid. Until we're willing to put the resources in, it's not going to get better. I think it's going to get worse, unfortunately.
okay.
Cliff, turning the page? What do you do?
We're turning the page. I have about 3 more hours for the first hour. But, so we had some guy assassinate the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, again in New York City, all the bad things happen in New York City. But the assassin, Luigi, is getting a certain amount of support in society. And our senior senator, Elizabeth Warren, said that when people have had enough, they act. Was this guy justified in shooting this CEO? And are we getting a little wacko about this? I mean,
Well,
assassination. Go ahead.
Oh, I know it was he had back issues, apparently. But that little fusion that he had is nothing compared to the metal in my spine. I mean, but I didn't go out and kill a United Healthcare worker. I just don't understand where this comes from. Pain, it just kind of goes to show, like, nobody wants to handle any bit of pain. Yes, when you have a bad back, you're going to have chronic pain, unfortunately. It's a part of life. It just is. And it's like the generation today doesn't want any type of pain or any type of sacrifice. Because of the way maybe their body is made up or a condition that they may have or whatever. And it's scary to think that this is where we are in society.
I have a little different take on this guy. So, if you look into his background, he comes from a very rich family. He's a spoiled, entitled person. I mean, the family is really rich, really got a lot of money. He's probably grown up in a very protected environment. And, you know, if you look at the pictures of him smirking and doing everything, he thought he could do anything he wanted. And absolutely should not have shot this guy at all. And I hope he's put away for life and that he never gets out ever again. Because this is, yes, there's problems with the health industry, but this type of behavior only encourages other people to do wacko, stupid things. And now the family is hiring a really high-priced, top-tier defense lawyer trying to get him out or whatever. And that's my worry. And, you know, so this guy should be put in a hole and never see daylight again. I mean, yes, there's problems with the health industry and denying and doing stuff, but this type of behavior only encourages other people to do stupid stuff that endangers society. And I hope he's put away for life and never gets out.
Fru.
The health thing we can deal in a different issue, but this is not acceptable behavior.
Fru?
I really agree with Mike. I'm saying that taking the life of a CEO because of your pain, has his pain ended? So, and there is no way to actually equate that with anything. The CEO did not make any decision for his pain. But trying to do that to think that he can solve a situation or send a message, killing in no form should be condoned.
Yeah, John.
This was absolutely dead wrong what this guy did. I hope he goes to jail for the rest of his life. But corporate America has got to start serving their customers. When you call an insurance company and they press, "Hi, your call's so important to us. Press 1 for dance music, 2 to jump in the lake." And you can't get somebody on the phone. And we've all experienced this. And when you call an insurance company, "Hey, I want coverage." If you're lucky enough to get somebody on the phone, they're going to say, "No, we're not going to cover it." We're not. Well, what's my insurance coverage for? Not that. Insurance companies will try to wiggle out of any kind of a claim, and anybody who works for an insurance company would not disagree with that. They're going to wiggle out of a claim if they can. And when you don't answer the phone, You finally take them, so say for instance, you're an attorney, so you can take them to court at your own expense, but you don't have to pay for a lawyer. So I take Cliff's insurance company to court. Cliff says, we have no record of Mr. McDonough ever calling us. We have no record of this. What does the judge do? Say, McDonough, you're nuts. Get out of my courtroom. You never called him. This is the kind of stuff that happens. And it's a point where we have to say to corporate America, Comcast, Verizon, McDonald's, whatever one of these gigantic corporations, okay? You've got to step up to the plate and answer questions when they're asked of you. Thoughts, Clifford?
Did anyone ever watch John Q?
Say it again, Fru?
Did anyone watch the movie John Q by Denzel Washington and the rest of it? I think in the 90s.
Hey, we gotta go to break land. We'll be back. Thanks.
I'll take a look at it.
Good day.
You ready? Up to you, Cliff.
Okay. Welcome to the City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. We have our producer, John McDonough, zooming in. We have EILEEN DELROSSI, and we have Mike Smith. So the weather in Lowell today is pretty good. Sunrise will be at 7:09, sunset at 4:13.
I almost put the shades up this morning.
All right.
Everything came together nicely.
So it's overcast, high of 41. It was crisp when I came into the studio, though.
Dry roads, nothing wet.
Winds light and variable, 5 miles an hour. 8% chance of precipitation. Humidity, 79%. So, and for those of you who are wondering when Hanukkah is this year, it starts at nightfall on 25 December.
On Christmas.
What?
On Christmas.
Yes. And it ends with nightfall on 2 January.
After New Year's.
Yeah.
That's a long party.
EILEEN, are you, do you have some thoughts on USPS informed delivery?
Well, yeah, I like it. I like when you get the email to see what's coming in the mail.
Yes.
Yes, I do like it, but I also heard recently that there is, the USPS is behind on some of the mail, so it will look like you're supposed to get certain things, and maybe it will come a day or two later.
Yeah, they're a little short on manpower right now, I understand.
Yeah, but no, it's always good to kind of know what's coming, or like, oh, did I forget to pay a bill? Maybe I can do it online before that actually gets to me. Like, that's how I think.
All right, so do you remember how to sign up for this?
Yeah. Do you want me to walk you through it?
Give us a quick overview.
Oh, you just log in. Some people may have a login for USPS if they've ever received like a slip that they have a package downtown or something, or at the post office. And you go in, you sign in, or if you don't have an account, you create an account with your address and you register, create a username and password. And then when you log in, there's a place where you can click on USPS informed delivery. I don't know exactly where it is, but I can get you a step-by-step by Friday if that helps.
Just back in the bus up, Eileen, you go into your search engine, and the one I use is Google. Use whatever search engine you like. Put in 2 words, informed delivery. And this will come up. And it says sign up for free, and you sign up and bam, they'll send you an email every day with a picture of what's coming in the mail. It's a picture of the envelope. Pretty cool.
Oh, and you could do it the John McDonough way. Less steps.
It also projects out in the future for packages, when packages might be arriving. Like, for the last couple days, it's been notifying me that a package is coming today. So I'm looking forward to that. I get 2 emails a day, one for my home address and one for the post office container I have down in at the post office. So I think it works out pretty well.
Well, I think the other cool thing is that, say for instance, I'm just nosy. I want to know what McDonough's getting in the mail, so I'm going to make believe I'm him. So I go in there and I tell him I'm me, or I'm you, I want to see what your mail is. They communicate, the post office communicates with me. I get a little postcard in the mail that, hey, McDonough, you got informed delivery on this date. So I think that's a pretty cool backup service that they have.
Okay. Mike, do you guys use this?
I know what their service is, but I haven't signed up for it,
Oh,
though.
okay.
But I haven't done that. But I do know what the service is.
So, Eileen, what about this ice cream museum?
Yeah, so it just opened up this weekend in Boston. It's at the Seaport, 121 Seaport Boulevard. And I thought it may be a little better than it actually was. You sign up. It's expensive. It's overpriced, and they're still working the kinks out of it. So $51 for each ticket, and then you can get
$51?
Sundays extra or whatever. They have a big. It's like a water park, but it's a slide, and you slide into a bunch of sprinkles. It's cute for the kids, and then. But they didn't really like it. There's a lobster roll type of ice cream because being in Boston, and it comes with like a scoop of ice cream and maybe strawberry syrup on it, and then like kind of a lobster roll. But yeah, it was a little intense. I think we walked down to King's Bowling afterwards, and I think the kids had way more fun in there.
Okay. Well, that's good. Hey, what do you know about this federal organization, FLEC, the Financial Literacy Education Commission? It's been around since 2003.
Oh, I don't know much about it.
It would seem to the casual observer that it might scratch the producer's itch about financial literacy. Maybe.
I guess, Mike, if it's been around that long, how come we're not using it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we should do some exploration and take a look at it on Friday.
Okay. All
I
right.
should do some homework on it.
Yeah, I did.
You should gonna do homework on it?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I'm going to do homework. I'll put a PowerPoint slide together for us.
So, you've got 2 motions for the school committee. One is request the superintendent report on the bus dismissal for middle schools. Are there some problems there?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the schools, from what I understand, have the same policies and procedures for bus dismissal, and then a lot, I've heard of many issues happening or surrounding those times when there's maybe less structured, less supervised times. And I just think, especially at that age, like, they need more eyes on middle school. And really, same with the policies and procedures for calling the other one or informing parents about discipline. And I know, you know, principals have to be very careful of that today in today's society. But how are we conveying with parents that their student did something that they're going to have a school repercussion or consequence for it? I don't know, just looking for a little more overall accountability and unitedness in procedure across the board, because I think it can only help the district.
Okay, I agree with that. Hey, what's this, you guys the school's putting out notes on motions completed, and you and Dominic both had a motion that was listed as completed, but they didn't fill out response or expected completion. Does that mean they just dropped it in the circular file?
You know, I honestly didn't have time to really look through that, so I have to look at it a little better.
Okay. Maybe
It's just been intense with Christmas.
Yeah. So you guys had the mock election? I was surprised.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I sent you a PowerPoint on that, Cliff.
And I sent it on to John. Maybe he'll be able to pull it up. And then maybe not.
Where did you send it?
Where did I send it?
Yes,
I sent it to your email.
it ain't coming up.
It's not coming?
You're gonna send it to me in instant message?
I don't
On
do instant
Facebook?
message.
Well, you do all the time, Cliff. I can show you some of your texts.
Well, then I don't understand what instant message is.
It's text.
So,
I'll go try to look at it, Cliff, but
it's okay, John.
first I'm hearing of it. Sorry.
So there were 1,049 participants. How many high school students do we have?
The high school, we have a lot. Like, I would say 1,000 each, like, freshmen, over 1,000 freshmen, juniors, sophomores, seniors.
So we have 4,000 people in the high school?
I believe.
This doesn't seem like a high turnout rate. But, so Kamala Harris got 52.9% of the vote. Donald Trump got 38.9%. So, probably pretty standard for Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I see we have 107 families homeschooling, 161 students. How are we checking the student performance?
So parents are required to send in, like, assessment data and so forth on their student. But again, that's an area that's really tough to kind of decipher. If I believe the assistant superintendent of academics, and I believe that was Robin Desmond's job before, so maybe we can have her on the show to maybe talk a little bit more about it. I know she's probably super busy with being superintendent. But there is accountability measures for being homeschooled.
I will ask her. We'll see what happens. So we have a city council meeting Tuesday, tomorrow.
I promised Fru, that I would put this up on the screen. And this is
Go ahead.
This is the party we missed on Saturday. I came back from my vacation and I had some kind of a flu, so I wasn't going to go anywhere I've been lying low. I haven't gone anywhere. Today's I'm all better. So at any rate, this is the party that Fru had on Saturday night down actually in the Hellenic American Center. They have a nice building down there. There's plenty of space to do this. So this is a picture from Mayor Danny Rourke. Took these pictures and put them on his Facebook page. And there's the mayor and his wife, April. And Paul Rathayem, I don't know who this gal is, but so we missed putting this up while Fru was here. There's Fru in his regalia, looking like $1 million.
What was the party for?
The Nambia people, which are several tribes in Cameroon,
Oh.
sort of an Uber tribe.
Okay.
So good crowd. There's Fru again, way over here. Happy as a clam. There's some of the awards, some of the displays they had. So it looks like a good time. Sorry I missed it, and we'll look forward to next time. Looks like they did some singing here. And that's the crowd. So that's it. Back to you, Cliff. Thank you, Fru. Thank you, Mayor Dan Rourke.
So Councilor Noon wants the city manager to work with the Hunger and Homeless Task Force and meet with the justices in the Lowell District Court to coordinate resources. At least they're looking at it. What the Hunger Homeless Task Force is this week, I'm not sure. I'll research that. Mayor Rourke wants the city manager to work with the Learning Committee, a City of Learning Committee, and Congresswoman Trahan to help secure Learning City designation from UNESCO.
Cliff, got a question about the agenda. Does it address Enterprise Bank leaving downtown Lowell?
No.
Because the headquarters is in downtown Lowell. Enterprise Bank has a huge footprint there. Much of the city's stuff depends on Enterprise's parking lot to use it. And Enterprise Bank has been a very heavy asset to the city of Lowell. And so this week's agenda does not address Enterprise's evaporation at all.
No.
Thank you.
My friends into banking, we were actually just talking about it this weekend. I guess Rockland Bank and Trust is buying out Eastern Bank. Rockland.
Enterprise Bank, yes. Rockland Bank and Trust, that's what I read, was they're buying Enterprise Bank. Most of the Enterprise Bank employees are looking over their shoulder. They don't know if they're coming or going. And nothing's going to change. I'm sorry, there's only one headquarters for Rockland Bank and Trust. There's only one headquarters.
But they're saying they're not planning on restructuring Enterprise or laying anybody off.
I understand.
So,
If I were you, if I was working for Enterprise Bank, I would take all my vacation time right now. I'd get all my back sick pay right now and get ready to be laid off.
John,
What?
if you're not sick, how can you take the sick days and use them?
If you can, if it's PTO, paid time off, which most organizations are going with nowadays, paid time off.
Okay.
And if I have paid time off, take all your paid time off, and don't trust what they're telling you unless it says Rockland Trust on it. If it says Rockland Bank and Trust, McDonough, you're gonna keep your job. And I got that on an email from Rockland Bank and Trust. I can believe that.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Cliff?
I had a random thought.
Okay, let's hear it.
My random thought was, are there limits with PTO that if you don't take it, you lose it?
If the company's being sold,
No. I'm going someplace with
Okay.
this.
Depends on-
Like,
depends
can I
on
get
the-
the money back from you?
it depends on what the agreement says. But if the company's being terminated, and if Rockland Bank and Trust is only buying the assets of Enterprise Bank and not the liabilities, my PTO is questionable. My paid time off. Thoughts? Eileen, what do you think?
So, hold on, I don't know if I'm on mute or not.
You're
You're
on.
not.
No, I'm not. Okay. So I think that from what I understood, they're going to do their best to try to keep all the employees. They weren't going to change them over. But I guess if you've accumulated time, it's yours, right? And they need to pay you out for it if they're going to let you go.
I don't know. But if you worked at Enterprise Bank, what would you do?
Well, I'd definitely be applying for other jobs because, sometimes you don't know who, if you're going to get along with your new boss or the new policies and procedures. So I'd want to find a place that aligns with what I like, I guess.
Okay, Michael, you're down there in sunny Florida. You're working for a bank, and the bank you're working for just got bought by a bigger bank. What are you going to do? I don't think Mike's listening.
Mike,
Oh, you mean it got bought by a bigger? Well, I mean, I actually went through some of that stuff with Kodak selling off divisions and stuff, that kind of thing going on. I mean, I guess it depends on how long you've been working for that bank. I mean, if you've got a pension involved or other things. I mean, if you've been at that bank for 30 years, you're probably going to stay there to get your last 5 or 6 years in to get your, to get your time in. But if you've just started there a couple of years, maybe you want to look for a different, job someplace else. It just depends on, what your personal situation is at the time.
wouldn't you want to show up for work so that if they had to go through a culling process, you were known as a hard worker and supporter of the institution?
Well, you'd have to show up. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't show up for work. And I mean, I've seen people just quit and not have another job or something lined up, which I think is very not smart. So, I mean, you show up and then you look at the options. I mean, maybe you're not going to be the person who's going to be let go. And maybe you have a new opportunity with a new employer. Maybe they're looking for people to promote into certain positions. I mean, you don't know until you see what's going to go on. I've just seen a number of people in my lifetime where things like this happen and they just quit. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Well, I don't like the new thing. And I said, why would you quit without finding another position someplace else? I mean, who's the one who's going to suffer? It's you, not the bank or the employer. So you got to look see what your opportunities are.
John, final thoughts?
I would email Rockland. I would email the purchaser of my bank. Say, hi, I've been working here for 1 year, for 20 years, for 100 years, and what are your plans for my position? And if I don't hear back from them, realize, not so good. Nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with communicating with your future boss.
Yeah. On the other hand, the head of human resources of a big operation, are they going to take the time to reply to Joe Bag of Donuts?
Well, if they don't talk to me now, I'm not going to get good feelings out of it. Any bank that I know of, if you email them a question, Enterprise has the sundown rule. Is the sundown rule gone? The sundown rule is, you call Enterprise Bank today, by the sundown tomorrow, you got an answer. And based on the sundown rule, so I work at Enterprise Bank, I don't. And I would just email Rockland Trust, say, hey, what are your thoughts on my position? Should I go looking someplace else, or should I stand fast and work through this transfer? I don't see anything wrong with doing that.
Yeah.
And you do. I'm putting words in your mouth, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't see that it's a productive use of your time.
Well, when you became base commander, wing commander, whatever, did anybody say, am I going to keep my job? Or they just like, meh, we'll see what he does.
No, nobody asked me if they were going to keep their job.
Wow, okay.
Anyway, back to the city council. Drew Palachek is requesting permission to address the city council about revising, I think he means reversing the camping ban ordinance. So we'll see how that goes. And then they're going to have an executive session to consider and discuss ongoing negotiations with Sal Lapoli. There we go. I did see something where Lowell native and author Jacqueline McDonough announced this month the release of the third and final book in a mystery series set primarily in Lowell, her home city. Epiphany concludes the story of Jackie, the French-Canadian main character of the two previous books, The Paper Route and The Humming Bridge, which take place in Lowell in the 60s and 70s. The third book picks up after Jackie's graduation from high school, where she does not see college as a practical option and instead chooses to explore a mystery she encountered in the first book when she visited Lowellian author Jack Kerouac in New York City. So here's a local-based book. It might be a fun read, and it's called Epiphany. And you can probably go buy it at Lala Books, I bet. What do you think, John? You ever been to Lala Books?
One time, yes. Nice store.
Nice store, yeah. Nice people.
Where is Lala Books, Cliff? It's on Market Street, correct?
Right, across from LTC and National Parks.
All right. So I'm going to do some announcements here, Cliff,
Go ahead.
because we're back in the announcement business here. So let me just go to here. If you want an announcement on this show, real easy thing to do, send me a text message. That's my cell phone number. You can call me up anytime you want. We can chit chat. If you want to be on the show, same thing. Just call that cell phone number. Email, not so much, but the best, just send me a text and we'll go on from there. If you want an announcement, love to put it on there for you. This is from the Bridge Club. Now, the Bridge Club organization in downtown Lowell are saving lives, and they're going to have a fundraiser January 19th at 1 o'clock at the Songus Arena. And this is great. If you want to introduce any one of your grandkids into hockey, great event to go to. It's not expensive. Tickets are going to be $20 for an adult, $16 for a kid. If you buy 10 tickets, there's a discount thing there. But my main motion here is this is a great organization. The retired Boston Bruins are going to play the Lowell Police Department. And it's a great way to introduce anybody to hockey, to see how it works, and it's a good event. So be in touch with the phone number that's right here. I'll go to that website, songacenter.com, and get some tickets. Moving right along, the bus that will take you to the mall, Pheasant Lane Mall. It's a free bus. Right now, LRTA, that's coming up in a second or so, LRTA is free for most of the year, if not all the year. But it's going on right now. You can get up to the mall, and it leaves the Kennedy Center, which is over at the railroad station over by the South Common. And every day they go to the Pheasant Lane Mall, and they'll bring you back. So take your fancy phone over the TV set there, take a picture of this, and you know what the schedule is. You get a free ride. So what the deal is, you hop on the bus as it goes through your neighborhood, brings you to the Kennedy Center, then hop on the bus for the Pheasant Lane Mall and go shopping up there. Everybody's going to be happy. Moving right along here, meals and food pantries. Is this still going on? I don't know enough about this. I'll have to read this later. So I don't know if this is dated. Okay, vocational opportunities. If you want to know how to get some culinary training, we're going to show you how to cook in a commercial operation so you can go work at your favorite restaurant. Recovery coach training, CDL. So if you want to learn to drive a tractor trailer or an EMT training for Pride Star, they're offering this down at the Bridge Club. So just there's a phone number down the bottom here. Just be in touch with them if you look. I'm interested in a culinary arts program, whatever you're interested in. Good organization, the Bridge Club. They're out there to help people. They're saving lives. There's the free bus ride. You can ride any city bus, we call it, but it's the LRTA, Lowell Regional Transit Authority. So you can see that bus out in Tewksbury or out in Dracut, out in Tingsboro. Give the bus driver a hearty wave and they'll pick you up for free. And this program is you have free bus rides on all the buses through September 30th, 2025. So good for us. Nice free bus ride. And that's the end of my announcement. Oh, wait a second. Where is lunch today? Very important to my friends over at the Senior Center. Today is the 16th, Monday. So if you head over to Lowell Senior Center, it's $2 or $2.50. I don't know exactly how much it is. Or it's free. If you don't have the money, it's free. You don't have to pay. Today we're having lemon pepper chicken, 7 days a week in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. The Senior Center, the Lowell Senior Center, has food at lunchtime. So they're happy to see you over there 7 days a week. So please don't miss out. And of course, they're going to be closed on Christmas, and they're closed on all holidays. It's a city function. But it's a very good service to the Lowell office to the community, the Lowell Senior Center's office to the community. And you can live in Timbuktu. You can live in Tingsboro. We don't care where you are. If you are in the mood for lemon pepper chicken, head over there. Get her over there around 10:30 this morning at the Senior Center at the corner of Fletcher and Broadway. They'd love to see you. Back over to you, Cliff. Thank you for your patience.
Okay. So Eileen, are you scooting off to work, or are you with us for another 8 minutes?
I'm driving. I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. So, has anybody got any thoughts on President Trump's proposed Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE? I mean, I'm hearing a lot of talk, but can it be done?
It's going to be interesting because I've lived with government entities, be it federal, state, and local, and when you have a problem, they say to you, look, this is a problem, look, this is going to get fixed. They'll look right in your face and say, good luck with that. They don't have to make it happen. We're dealing with a society of, we can't be fired people. Like with all the stuff that happened with the FBI, did anybody get fired? I don't think so. Maybe somebody resigned, but nobody got fired. Same thing with the state. When the MBTA screws up and, oh, the train's broken, the bus is broken, the railroad track's broken, nobody gets fired.
2 people got fired out of the FBI hijinks in 2016, but they won back pay, so it didn't hurt them that much.
So we're dealing with a whole society. We have a lot of people, I would say 90% of the people working in government, they would love to push excellence out the door. The bad habit with government is if you finish your job, I finished all my work. Good, here's Sally's work, because Sally's lazy. Here's Sam's work, because Sam's lazy. Do Sam's work. And all of a sudden you realize, I ain't doing this. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to put my gear into real slow, the speed of government, and I'm going to travel along this lane because I don't want to do Sally and Sam's work. And Sally and Sam, they just sit there playing on their phone all day. Nothing happens. In Lowell, lovely Lowell, we have a habit. We hire our friends here. We hire all our friends and relatives. And I think it's a disgrace. And should I decide to run for city council, I will insist that Lowellians get an interview for every job that's out there in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. Lowellians, people who live in Tewksbury, should get the first shot working for the Tewksbury town government. A government job, you get pension. Pension is freaking great. When you're an old buck like me, a pension's so nice. That check just shows up. That's beautiful stuff. Now, Cliff, would you be able to exist without your pension?
I'd have to work.
Okay. And that's just, the pension that the government has, I think that that's what you got to lean on, and you're going to start to push excellence out the door or you're gone. And if I do decide to run for city council, I'll encourage my colleagues on the city council to change the method of pushing excellence out the door with the city of Lowell.
Do you have a pension?
Yes, called Social Security.
But the funeral home doesn't give you a pension? People don't pay into it?
No, I'm on salary.
Oh.
They all have pensions. The kids all have pensions. But, well, they have retirement accounts. But myself and my favorite colleague, Paula, we decided to blow the dough as we should have done it like 30 years ago, but we didn't do it. So we're both still working.
Okay. So, when I look at this Doge thing,
What's Doge?
Department of Government Efficiency,
Okay, yep.
you got to keep up, John.
Well, Doge, sorry, I'm
it's okay.
old. I forget this stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, Cliff, I'd like to just throw in a couple of things. The problem is not going to be with Ramaswamy and Musk putting something together and figuring out what to cut out of the waste of the government. It's going to be with the backbone of the House and the Senate to actually follow through on it. And the problem that I see is they're looking at the bureaucracy of the government, which means government workers. And they're going to recommend to get rid of people. And politicians think of when you're getting rid of people, that's votes that I'm losing. So are they going to have the backbone to do that? Now, that will depend somewhat on how much pressure Trump could put on that, because he doesn't have to worry about running for office again or political, getting reelected. So it's going to come from him and also from the people that have taken over, that hopefully are going to be approved for some of these cabinet positions. So, and also if people are willing to put pressure on their Congress people and their senators. So I don't see where Musk and Ramaswamy are going to have a problem with finding stuff and recommending things. It's whether the Congress will be willing to follow through on it. As John was saying before, if they don't follow through on it, it doesn't matter how much you recommend.
Yeah.
I got a text from one of our viewers, and it says, Cutting government is like taking a bottle away from a hungry baby. You're going to hear a lot of loud crying. Good point. Thank you.
So,
I think some of the things they need to look at too is limiting the lobbyists. If they could limit the Congress people from being able to interact with lobbyists or have them involved down on the floor or whatever, I mean, if they could ban some of that, then I think that we have some hope. But, you know, it's all good and fine that everybody's excited about this, but, you know, until you have results, until people actually are willing to be willing to take some risk that maybe people aren't going to reelect them because they cut out stuff. And this is going to involve a lot of government employees that they're going to be looking at to cut. I mean, Musk is already famous for just firing a whole ton of people because he didn't think they were working efficiently. Now, he runs a business, so he can do that. Politicians look at things a lot differently. So whether they're willing to have that backbone to do what needs to be done, because we can't continue to run deficits. It's just not going to be sustainable. And the other thing they're going to have to look at, and I'm sure it's going to come out, is having to do with Social Security and Medicare. I mean, people really, they're not talking about that entirely right now, but that's going to be coming up. Because if they don't do something soon, make some adjustments, you, me, and everybody else in less than 10 years are going to be taking some big cuts in pay. And that's not going to look good, go over well with people. So it's all on whether they're willing to do the things that need to be done at the risk of themselves not staying in office at the next election.
yeah, I think you're right. I took a look at the Department of Education. Yes, John.
Remember, in the Wayback Machine, President Ronald Reagan fired people at the air traffic controls. They were federal employees, so this can be done. You can just fire people.
He fired people that went on an illegal strike.
So you're saying we can't fire anybody? Is that my takeaway from what you're telling me?
Yes.
I think you can. There's a process.
But,
Go ahead, Eileen.
but does DOG, Department of Efficiency, apply to a Boston City Councilor accused and federally, sounds like there are federal charges on her for hiring family members, giving them extra pay, getting kickbacks, something like that in terms of the world of politics?
I say no, it's a different company. Boston City government's not the federal government.
Okay, thank you.
That's my thoughts, Cliff?
It raises an issue of whether or not a city council can shed a member. Remember there was a big brouhaha over Corey Robinson on our city council?
And they just dismissed the case.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, the same thing could happen to this gal. The whole case could get dismissed.
It could. I'd put money on it if I was a betting man. But the city council was all hot to distance itself from Corey Robinson, and now and I think we'll discuss this more when Melanie Gilbert is here on Friday, but the case just evaporated. And
Because-
now we're up to seeing what the voters are going to say in 11 months about Corey. He's not your city councilor, is he, John?
No, he's up the hill, Christian Hills. He's EILEEN DelRossi's city councilor.
Is
Yeah,
that?
he's like my counterpart on the city council.
Yeah.
But, like, in that case, there was no federal charges in that case. In this case, there is a federal charge for that Boston City Councilor.
Yeah, but the appointing authority is the people who voted for her in Boston. And the only people who can kick her off the city council, in my mind, are her peers, and her peers wisely will sit back until the court makes a determination, unlike the embarrassing thing that we had Lowell City Council do with Corey Robinson's issue.
Yep.
Okay.
Okey doke. So anyway, the Department of Education, in 2024, they cranked out $90 billion, and that was up 13.6% from fiscal year 2023. They have 4,400 employees who are involved in the dispersing of this money and also applying rules and regulations to schools. Do you ever run into that, Eileen? Schools having to conform to federal regulations?
Well, I know schools do have to conform to federal regulations. I told you my story when I went to get tested for drugs and everything. I asked like what they were testing for, and one of the things was marijuana, and they had just approved like marijuana in the state, and they said it doesn't matter if it's approved in the state, it's not federally approved. So I know that.
So 4,400 people, salary and overhead is probably $500 million that we're paying in order to give money to schools. Like I said, $90 billion, and it didn't have any effect anyway. John?
Were you surprised at all with the report that 90% of federal employees work from home? You surprised to hear that? I was like really
No.
stunned. You think that's okay? We're paying for office space, your office space. We're paying for office space for you, and you work from home? What kind of monumental waste is that?
Of that 90%, what percent are working from home full-time and what percent are working from home part-time?
Cliff, it's 2024, it's December. There's
Yeah.
be no more working from home. Get your butt into the office.
Actually, working from home is good.
Yeah, because you get to goof off. Oh,
I don't think that everyone that works from home is goofing off. I mean, are you implying that my youngest son, is goofing off?
why doesn't he want to go into the office?
Because he can save 3 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
one day-
I'm sorry, he's working for me. I don't care about him saving 3 hours a day. I want his butt in the office. I can supervise him much better when I can see him. Right now, I have no idea what Mike Smith's doing. I have no idea. I know what you're doing because I can see you. I have no idea what EILEEN DelRossi's doing. How can I really know as a supervisor that he or she is really doing their job?
By the product.
By the product. I could see you right over there, Cliff.
You're a
I can
micromanager.
see you right over there.
Micromanager. There's nothing worse than a micromanager.
Thank you, and I'm proud. I'm proud to be a micromanager. I'm proud.
There's the man with the 800-page agenda.
Yep.
Yeah, but you notice I show a lot of flexibility.
Not the way that you look at times.
I don't think that that's a fair
Well,
characterization.
let's hear from Florida on the issue. Michael, what are your thoughts? Working from
Well,
home. Working from
I
home.
have some personal insight to this because my uncle used to work for the government for the the printing office for the U.S. government. And he spent the last, 10 years or more working on the Senate Finance Committee doing all the proofreading and different things for him. And he used to tell us stories about his boss that would be, it's an appointed position, but he still works for the federal government.
Hi, Martha.
And how he wouldn't show up. The Department of Education,
Do you want to go on?
I really don't think we need a federal bureaucracy like that. I think the states at a local level can manage things better. And unfortunately, because the federal government's put all these mandates in, the local education boards and schools and that are doing things that just so they can fulfill federal requirements, which I think is a waste of time and money. I think that the local school boards and the local states can better manage what their kids need for education. And I think the federal government put some restrictions on that aren't necessary. And I know people always say, well, you need to have the federal government because some of the states do a lousy job of education. Well, if they're doing a lousy job of education, people won't want to live in that state. So either they'll get better or they won't have many people living there. So, and businesses won't want to locate there because the education is poor and they won't be able to recruit employees to work for them there. So I think that it should be up to each state more. The federal government can help them out, but I think that there's just too many restrictions that the states have to do that's a waste of time and money because they're doing it just to fulfill these federal requirements where they could use their resources much more efficiently a different way.
Okay, caller.
It's your wife.
I'm going back to the issue of people working at home, government employees. If they're working from home, I'm presuming they're working on government computers. Therefore, can't that be monitored by the government? And isn't it monitored by the government?
John, over to you.
Yes, and I don't think it's being done.
I know that businesses do that with employees who work from home. They can measure all their keystrokes. They can measure if they're in front of their computer because they can look at that, through the camera on the computer. There's ways to monitor it. It's whether the government's willing to do that and enforce it. And that's the problem with a big bureaucracy. People aren't just following up on the rules or following to make sure people are doing what they should be doing. And, unfortunately, Cliff, you said your son doesn't want to spend 3 hours traveling. What about the people who have to work in hospitals? What about the people that are firemen or police officers that live an hour away from where they got to work? They've got to do it every day. It's an inconvenience to them. So, why can't the government mandate it? If it's an inconvenience to somebody, then they need to find a different job so they're not so inconvenienced.
Well, the government is talking about moving people out of D.C.
Yeah. I think, in my mind, the question is production. My father had a position with the Department of the Navy, salaried, and his comment to me one time was that he doesn't actually have to work 8 hours a day. Some days he has to work more, some days less. And he was productive. He set a world's record for man hours worked without a lost time accident for an industry of his size. So I think that with salaried people, arbitrary rules may be counterproductive. John, what was the comment?
A comment from the audience is, Mike's 100% correct about the debt of I'm going to get debt of Department of Education. A huge waste of government resources. Because my takeaway is they have a gigantic brand spanking new building there and nobody goes to work every day. What a stupid thing to do. Oh, Cliff has something he wants us to look at.
Yeah, see if you can focus in on this. Yeah, I'm hanging on to the caller.
All right.
What
Don't
will,
move, I will move. Don't move.
I'm not moving. So the top line,
That's the best we're gonna do, buddy. I'll
can you
change-
make Eileen and Cliff go away? Thank you. That top line is the increase in government spending. The bottom line is the increase in student performance. As we can see, we're pouring a lot of money in without getting much help. Now, this second chart says that the money is going for administration. What's that, 89%?
Yeah, we hire all of our friends.
So I'm not sure that that money, it comes with restrictions, and the end result is that you have to hire bureaucrats to answer the federal government's questions based upon the fact they're giving you money. That's not very efficient.
I do agree with that, where it's top heavy with administration. And even today in education, you know, I say we as teachers at least get paycheck and health insurance. These kids, nobody's doing what's right for them at a level, maybe the state level, with the federal funds that would really be the right thing for students today. Like, it's education is in serious crisis in America today.
Okay. All right, so our caller left us. I'm 100% in agreement with the caller about the government's able to,
If you want breakfast, you better be 100% in favor with her. Or you'll have no breakfast. Maybe the key won't work.
I have to go now into my workplace, where it was just in the news today that there's mice infestation in our building.
oh, wonderful.
Well, Mickey Mouse is a nice guy. Be good to them. I think we'll see you Friday.
All right, sounds good. Bye, guys. Bye, Mike. Bye, Cliff. Bye, John.
Bye. I think that I must be in a different kind of a marriage. I wouldn't expect breakfast to depend on whether or not I agreed with my wife's opinions on some political topic. What do you think, Mike? Does Kathy demand?
Let me wait a minute. Let me hear that again now. I just want to make sure I heard that right.
I said I didn't think whether or not I got breakfast would depend on whether or not I agreed with my wife's position on some political topic.
Yeah. Well, I think that Kathy and I, that if we disagreed, I don't think I'm going to not get breakfast, or I'm not going to get her coffee, because we don't agree. I mean, that's the problem I see nowadays with some of the younger generation and other people is, if you disagree with them, they cancel you out. They don't want to talk to you. There's something entirely wrong with you. I mean, if you can't have the same opinion as them, then they don't want to have anything to do with you. And that's not the way I grew up. I mean, people are going to have different opinions, and you respect them for it. That's based on our freedom of speech. Because once you do that, you're basically trying to cancel freedom of speech, and that's not good.
No.
So
Isn't that one of the
we may
last?
disagree. We may disagree on something and maybe not go and talk for a while to each other, but we come back and resolve things. But I don't think it's gonna. If we didn't agree, I don't think it's gonna decide whether I get breakfast or not. Kathy said she already got my breakfast made, so it doesn't.
Well, you didn't take her off either.
So So I didn't show you all my shirt today. See, for Sam, it says "I believe" before we run out of time.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
why I'm wearing this shirt.
Mike, stand
So-
up again. You were out of the shot. Do it again.
Wait a minute, here we go. It says "I believe."
Beautiful.
So isn't, going back to Mike's comment, isn't that one of the lessons we learned from the movie Home Alone? That
Yeah.
the next door neighbor and his son haven't talked for a long time. And so Kevin convinces him to call his son and try and reopen discussion.
Hey, tomorrow City Life, we're gonna have, come on now. Bob Howie's gonna be here. Ned Tommy might be here. Tom Bomo's gonna be here. Karen Casella's gonna be here. And young Ju Choi is gonna be here. That's tomorrow City Life. Time is short, Cliff.
Okay, Friday we'll talk about drones.
All right. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. We'll have to talk about drones Cliff, next Monday, then hopefully we have some better answers to what's going on.
All right, we'll do it Monday.
Next Monday, we'll definitely talk about that. All right, we'll see you, okay?
Okay,
See you next
bye-bye.
time.